Good morning everybody, happy Sunday and welcome to Sharing Sunday with Pandora Pop's Crafting Joyful Moments. Today I'm going to show you how to make some monochrome cards today, which are still really effective, but not as difficult to make as they may look. We're going to be using our new lovely arrangements set from Stamping Up, along with the stamp set, along with some of the die set, and I'm also going to be using Lasting Linen, our big polymer stamp, which has given me this gorgeous effect on the background here. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing this morning. Also going to add some embellishments and some ribbon. But before I get started with that, I'm going to quickly just run through a couple of other cards that I've made this week, and one specific one to share with you because I'm going to be posting how to make it tomorrow. Made a quick card for Simply Make Saturday yesterday, so that was just a note. That's just using the Designer Series paper from the Lovely Blossom set and suite. I love the paper, it's just so gorgeous. And again, this one, which has got a little bit more to it, but this is our Make It Monday card that we're going to be making tomorrow. So if you'd like to find me on Facebook at Pandora Pop's Crafting Joyful Moment, I'll be posting it on there. And then I'll also be posting the video on YouTube. It is a silent video. I've not done any voiceover with that one. It is just showing you how to make the card. And I will, in the description, share with you all the instructions on how to make it. All right, now that's done, let's get started. So I hope you're all well today. And I hope that the weather is okay with you where you are. I know any viewers, some in America are getting some snowstorms at the moment. Here in the UK, we're just getting a lot of rain and wind, which is pretty typical for this time of year in January. Yeah, so let me know in the comments, or let me know later on how you're getting on, how things are with you, how's the weather in your part of the world, and what have you been up to stamping wise. I've just realised I have misplaced my paper trimmer. Oh, I found it. Sorry, it's on the floor. Let me just grab my paper trimmer, because the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have to cut our card bases. So here in the UK, we have an A4 card. A4 card is our standard card. This is it here. And so when I cut it, I score at 10.5. Using the scoring blade on the paper trimmer, making sure it's completely lined up properly. I score at 10.5, and then I trim at 14.8. 5, 6, 7, 8. And that gives 2 card bases from one piece of A4 card. I'm now going to quickly make the same one, because I can't decide whether I'm going to show you Secret C or whether I'm actually going to show you our Old Olive. I think I might go with Old Olive this morning. Excuse me. Chew. 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 Those of you who've seen my video from last week will realise that, yes, I am still fighting that cold that I had last week and the 3 weeks prior, unfortunately. It's just taken me a long time to get over it. And I think most people in the United Kingdom who've had the same sort of cold they're in the same position. It's just lingering a little bit. I don't feel unwell now. Luckily, I feel quite with it. But yeah, it's still lingering. I'm going to keep that out for a moment because we just put it on my knee because we are going to be using it again. Right, okay. You know what? I know flowers shouldn't be green, but I'm going to go with Old Olive. I'm going to go with Old Olive. Completely changing what I was going to do. I was going to show you the Secret C one, but as you can see, my nails almost match the paper, so I'm definitely going for Old Olive today, which means I will not need my Secret C ribbon, but I will need my Old Olive ribbon. Okay, so when you get your card base and you've done it, first thing you should do is to fold it ensure that that you can line it up as best as possible. I apologise if at any point my head gets in the frame here. Yeah, and just use your bone folder to ensure that it lies flat. It's always really a good thing to do. So I have my card. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do some stamping. So I'm going to bring in our new stamping positioner, which is a great tool for especially doing what we're going to do, which is using a big stamp. Okay, so I need to have my lasting linen first. So I'm going to do all the elements that we need, cut them out, and then we'll start building the card. Okay, let's get our lasting linen stamp. When you're taking off a big stamp like this, just do it gently. Take it at one corner, work your way along, and then sort of roll it off. And stretching your stamp. That's it. Brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to be placing, I'm actually going to place it right in the middle. Just here. Okay. I'm just going to get my stamp and positioner, and I'm going to pick up my stamp. Okay, if you notice, the grid paper, I don't know whether you can see, but is stuck to nodules at the side, which means it's not going to move. I'm now going to bring in some card. Now, I know that I need it a little bit smaller than my card, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the magnets to put the card where I want it, try and get it as straight as possible. So I'm going to just position that up against, didn't do that very well, did I? Just position that up against that line. Okay, and I'm then going to take, I did this the wrong way around, I'm then going to take my stamping positioner. Yep, that's perfect. It will cover exactly what I need, where it needs to cover, but I do need to just move my magnets because it's on the corner. Let me just move my magnet. Okay, let's have a look. I'm actually going to put my magnets there. And it's now moved because I moved my magnets. Ah, not doing a very good job of showing you this. Okay. Again, try again. Yeah, that'll be fine for what I need. Right, I'm now going to ink up my stamp, and I'm going to use Old Olive to ink it up. So I'm just going to keep dab. So the good thing about the stamping positioner is that because I'm using such a big stamp, sometimes you do not get a clean image first time. So I'm hopeful that is inked. Checking it's all in position. Happy with that. It's on the 18 and ends at the 3. So if my paper lifts at any point, I can then reposition my paper. Hopefully it won't, but it is quite a new stamp and it does tend to stick. So I'm just pressing down, and that was just a light press. Now I'm going to, just for show's sake, so that was just a light press. That wasn't even a hard press. That was me just that was me just using the springs. And you can see there were some areas that needed a little bit more attention. So this is where I just go over with my hand. There are people do sell those things where you can actually rub on the top. I tend to just use my hand. Okay, we've still got so much, hasn't it? But that could be because I have not stamped it, not covered it with the ink. But let's just do it again. because we're going to be covering a lot of this, we don't need all of it, and it does give a little bit of a vintage look as well. Okay, so I can see that I've missed some bits, and you can see it on here where I've not transferred it. So let me just re-ink a little bit. Because everything's still in place on where I wanted it to be, so the paper hasn't moved, it means this image will just be as clean as anything else. Okay. It also could be, there might be some air pockets underneath my stamp. So if you do continue to get this, the best thing would be to roll off your stamp and just roll it on to the Stampin' Up. So yeah, I think you can probably see I've got air pockets underneath. So I'm not going to worry about that. I actually, you know, it is what it is. So just let's peel that off. Okay, so I'm going to have to need my other one. I'm just going to put that back on, and then I'll clean it whilst it's in its case. I'm just using a baby wipe for quickness. Those are biodegradable baby wipes. I'll make sure I get those ones if I am going to use them. Okay, right, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave that as it is. Yeah, I quite like that. Right, next thing we're going to do is we need to stamp our flowers that we're going to be using. And we also need to stamp our sentiments. So I'm actually going to use the big platform because I'm going to use this. And I'm just going to position it between the two nodules here. Make sure I've got my things in place. And I'm going to put my stamps down that I need. Now, I know I'm not going to be able to, because I want it to have 3 big ones. So I'm going to put one of the big ones there. I want one small one. So if we're looking at what we've done here, I want one small one, 3 big ones, and a sentiment. So I'm making sure that I'm putting the flat side up. Let's do Sending Smiles. Oh, yeah, let's do Sending Smiles. I quite like Sending Smiles. Okay, Sending Smiles. So I'm just going to put that there. Do we need any other stamping? Not at the moment, because I'm actually going to change up something slightly what I did with the leaves on this. I'm actually not going to stamp onto the old olive paper. I'm going to make my own and then cut it out with the dies from the set. But I think I might have a leaf. So I'm just going to place these so I know that when I then come back, if I place these, let me just think, because I need to have as much space as possible for my other 2 big stamps. So let's just move these a little bit. Hair on there. Make sure I've got enough space left there so I can actually cut them out with the dies. Right, okay. So again, with the Stampin' Positioner. Okay, I'm just going to lift that up. Now, the card lifted slightly, but I know that as long as I position it between these 2 nodes, I'll just make sure I've done that correctly, lining up who I stamp. So I've got it directly between these 2 nodes. When I stamp, it should be absolutely fine if it lifts. Okay, so let's go for our old olive. So as you can see, I didn't press down, which means this actually hovers above your paper. When you're using our old red rubber stamps though, be careful because it will make an impression as soon as you put it on. So you can't reposition. You must, when you're putting it, you must make sure that, you know, if you're going to stamp with the red rubber, you make sure that your paper's in the right place. because it does make contact with the paper. But with the photopolymer ones, which are these, yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there, but this time I'm going to peel off my big stamp, put these back on, and I'll clean them off in a moment. Okay. I'm going to click that up. Oh, I must have pressed down. Okay, never mind. It'll be fine because it's going back in the same position. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same. It's because I didn't, that's why I got the image, because I didn't clean my stamp in between times. Right, okay. Yeah. So because I didn't clean my stamp, the image was already there. So if you needed to obviously change colour, or if you're, if you're unsure that you want to stamp straight away, I would try and make sure that you do clean your stamp in between. But, I didn't need to because it was stamping in the same position. Okay, so we have those bits. That's what we needed for stamping wise. So I think that's it for stamping. We can now put the stamps away for now, and also our stamping positioner. It's quite small. It's handy if you've got space on your desk to have it. It is nice to have. Okay, I'm going to do all our cutting out in a moment, but before we do that, I need to do some colouring for these leaves I'm going to cut out, and I'm actually going to use, I'm going to use some spare card that we have. Just put that away. And I am going to use my blending brush to add some ink to both pieces of card, lightly on one and then a little bit darker on the other. So I'm just lightly going over, and then I'm just adding more. Ink as we go. I could put this straight onto the ink pad, but I actually didn't want to do that because it gives can give quite a solid colour, and I just wanted it dark. I just wanted to maybe darken it myself. Okay, now whilst we have these, I'm just going to close the ink pad. So I don't think we need that any longer. Whilst we've got these on our table, we're going to do some splattering. And I'm going to first come in with our light olive. I managed to get ink everywhere on myself. And I'm just using the bone folder to tap and splatter. It's not going to show as much on the darker one, so I'm going to pick up my dark one, do the same, splatter, splatter, splatter. Just gives a little bit of texture, interest, and at the same time I'm also going to use our Wink of Stella just to add a little bit of sparkle. I don't know whether the camera's picking that up, but it's adding a little bit of sparkle to that. So we have our two pieces that we are going to then cut out. I will clean my bone folder. Before I go any further, I'm going to just take a little bit of our ink. So what I'm going to do is I'm using a cotton bud or a Q-tip, picking it up, and I'm just going to, on a couple of these, just go in a little bit. and just bring it out. Bring that colour out from the middle. Let's just see what I can do with the blending brush. Blending brush is just as good. And you can gradiate out. I just wanted to do a pop of colour on a couple of them in the middle. I think I might do a little bit of pop of colour there. And on that one. This one, I'm just going to actually take my Q-tip. And I'm just going to lightly go on this bit. And then I'm going to come in with my blending brush. And then I'm going to come in with the Wink of Stella. And I'm just going to blend that out a little bit. And I'm going to come up here with the Wink of Stella. And I'm going to do the same over here, just a little bit from the centres. I could have called that in a lot better than I did, I'm really sorry. But I'm still going to use them. Absolutely going to use them. I just might select, because I'm not sure about that, so I might layer them slightly differently. Okay, we now have our bits that we need to cut out. We have our background that we need to trim. So we have all the bits that now we need to cut out and trim. So I'm going to bring in our embossing machine, which wasn't behind me, it was by the side of me. When I use the embossing machine, I use some tape, which is essentially post-it tape. You can write on it, and I find it doesn't stick at all to the card, which is absolutely brilliant. You can actually buy post-it tape, and I have post-it tape, but I do find it that it's a little bit more expensive than it should be. So have a just Google post-it tape, especially on that wonderful site called Amazon. I'm not affiliated with Amazon, by the way. You would think so by the number of boxes that come to my house every day, but I am not. Yeah. So we're going to just start cutting out. I'm going to start with those. Let me just get my dies. I'm going to use these ones here. I need to use that one there. And that one. And for my sentiment as well. I might have actually stamped them a little bit too close, but we'll see. Right, okay, let me get those stuck down. The top ones I'm not going to worry about because they're just going to stay where they are, but I need to stick the other ones down to ensure that they're in the right place. Okay. It's quite difficult for me to see. Not doing it over the top. We shall give it a go. You would obviously take a lot more time than I am sticking these things on, ensuring they're all in the right place. I'm just doing this for quickness, obviously. So I might actually have to wait till I've cut out that one before I do my sentiment. Oh, actually, I might be better doing the sentiment first. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Finding the right one. I think that is it. I think that's the right shape. Again, take your time over this. I'm just going to put these in, run these through, and then we'll run it through again. It'd be great if I could find my top plate. There we go. Okay. So you're going to sandwich it. When you sandwich it in the plates, put it through. Okay, and I'm just, I think I'm slightly off camera, aren't I? Let me just put that out of the way whilst I take everything off and reposition everything. Okay, sorry for that if I went off camera. So I'll just peel that off. So we have one flower. And whilst we've got it off, I'm going to immediately put it back onto here to cut my next flower. If I'm actually, when it comes to batch making cards and making cards, you know, when you're making a lot of cards for Christmas or a wedding or something like that, I always buy a second set of the dies just because it makes it quicker for me to work with. I've just realised I haven't got my poker tool, so excuse me for a sec. Actually, pick up a pair of scissors. They're Stampin' Up snips. Unfortunately, Stampin' Up no longer sell their paper snips, and they were my favourite scissors. I have, as I said last week, I've been trialling new scissors. I am probably going to post that video next week, just to show you. Okay, lift our leaves up. I like that. Right, okay. So those can go back on there. The ones I don't need and don't use can go back. I do need these ones though, so I'll turn that around. Give me some space on here. And I'm now going to bring in my darker colour. I'll put them where they are. And this time see if I can get our Sending Smiles in. No, I'm going to have to do it on the third run through, and that is absolutely fine. Put our plates together. Again, I apologise if I go out of frame when I'm doing the cutting. I don't know whether you can tell I'm an exceptionally messy crafter. I craft in my living room. And some people might find that really, really weird. I do have a space where I could craft, but I tend to like being around people, and my husband is often in the living room. He's now retired, so especially in the evening when, you know, he's watching TV or we're watching TV together, I will often sit crafting whilst we're watching television. So that's why I've set up now in my living room. I just find it so much nicer that we can spend more time together. And I can happily chat, as you can tell, when I'm crafting. Maybe I should not talk as much, but then that wouldn't be me. So I'll tell you a little bit more about myself. I have introduced myself before. So I work full-time in between crafting. I do have a full-time job. I really enjoy my job. Let's just say my job is, I can't tell you exactly what my job is. It's that type of job, unfortunately. I can't divulge exactly what I do for a living. But I love my job. It helps. I get to make a difference in people's lives. It can make a real difference in people's lives, my job. So yeah, I love what I do. And crafting is my, I don't know why I tore off another piece of paper there. I could have used the other one. Crafting is my way of relaxing. It's my downtime. It's how I just decompress at the end of a day. Not that my job's not that kind of job where it's massively stressful or what have you. Once I get paper in my hands, I just love to create. And sometimes my brain says, oh, you want to craft, but you don't know you've got no idea what you want to do. And that's why one of the reasons I love, just realised I've got that the wrong way around. One of the reasons I love crafting with Stampin' Up! Is because if I need to, they have coordinating dies. They have things like that for everything. I often will not use everything. I'll maybe use the paper, or I'll maybe in dies, or just the stamp set. But I like the fact that there is that opportunity to have that ability to put things together quite simply and quite quickly, and you can get some fantastic results. As I say, crafting, I love reading, I love crafting, I journal, getting up, I get up quite early in the morning. I start work quite early, which is, one of the fantastic things about my roles is that we have a thing called flexi time, so I can start anytime from 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night. So, and it fits perfectly around the rest of my day. So my job's not stressful, but I do use crafting as just as a wind down. Going forward, at night time, I will often just craft, or I'll be watching someone else's crafting video. But as I say, I do a lot of journaling as well. Some of the projects that are coming up over the next couple of months will actually be around journaling and how you can use stamping in your journals. I'm also going to be doing some scrapbooking, so if you are into scrapbooking or you've not done scrapbooking before, send me a message and I'll let you know when those are coming up. Okay, I don't think we need these anymore, so I'm going to put these away now. Don't shout at me, I know I didn't clean my stamp set off properly. I will do that at the end of the day, but I am going to be using this later on today as well. And let's put that out the way. Right, so let's bring in our paper trimmer again, because we need to trim our back layer. We have all our little bits. Okay, so because our paper is 14.8 by 10.5, I want to make I'm gonna make mine 13.8. I'm going to take a centimetre off. So I've got a largish border going round. Make sure that's in the trimmer. So 13.8 by 9.5. Trick when you're lining it up, just make sure it's pressed up against the side. Okay. That's that done, so let's move that and that out of the way. Let's bring in our original card. So we need to bring in our card blank. So we're going to start layering. I don't know whether you've watched my videos before. I have this as my tape runner because it's got this really nice grip. I'm not wearing my gloves today. Normally I would have my gloves on. I have compression gloves to for my hands, but actually my hands this morning aren't too bad, which is nice. Try it and line it up. It's very difficult when I can't look on from the top. I've probably not done that very well. Never mind, we're just going to take it as it comes. Right, okay, so now we're going to build. Now, I'm going to put this one in the background. And I want this one, I think, in the foreground. So, which means this one's going to go in the back. But I'm actually going to layer that way and put that on like that, I think. Or, let's tuck that in, and then just cover up my dodgy colouring this morning. That's better. Okay, I'm not going to add dimensionals to this. I don't think it needs the extra depth. I think I did put dimensionals on initially, but I'm not actually going to. So with this one, I'm going to make sure that I'll have the space. Right, okay, so let's start with that one. That is going to go there. I do use a lot of glue. So I use glue as well, and not just my tape runner. I do a tape runner if I'm doing a bit more precision work. This I wouldn't necessarily think is, or class this as being precision work. I've just completely forgotten where I was going to put everything. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Let's just put it there. Yeah, okay. Now you might think, why am I not covering it all with my stamp, with my tape runner? Because I want to leave gaps in order to put my leaves. So this is where my glue will come in. And I might actually not use these ones. I think I might. Oh, I don't know. Let's have a look. Let's put these in. After saying I'm not going to use them, then just straight away go, oh, that looks nice. Let's put them in. Okay. Right, so we're now going to build. Got that bit. We're now going to build with our other leaves. So I'm just going to put some dots of glue. I put too much on there. Dots of glue. On the back of these, and then we can work out where we're putting them. Don't forget our single leaves that we have. Okay. Stick some up here. And then our other darker ones put down here. And those lighter ones I'm going to layer on top just here. Give them a chance to set. Pressing them down. And then I'm going to add our one dark leaf in between there. I'm going to add another leaf up at the side here. And I think it just needs one down here as well. That light one. Okay, so that's our card. Now we need to add our sentiment. I'm going to use the Old Olive, what do we call this? Specialty Rick Rack, and it is in Old Olive. This comes in the Cute as a Bug kit. The suite, but it can be used. But it is sold separately, and obviously it just goes perfectly here. So I'm going to take my snips, and I'm going to just cut a small amount. I'm going to cut it on an angle. I think that's better for it to be cut on an angle. I do have ribbon scissors, and I should have got them out. And I'm going to use some tear and tape to attach it to the back. When I find the tear and tape, thank you. So tear and tape is just double-sided tape, but it's tear and tape. It's easy to tear. That's the name of it. And then stick it on, peel off. It peels off really well. And I'm just going to, I think I maybe should have cut a little bit more of my ribbon, but let's go with this. I'm just going to layer it so it... Actually, no, I'm going to have to cut more of my ribbon, unfortunately. It wasn't long enough to do what I wanted it to do, which is... Make sure I've got it the right way around. Okay, so I'm just going to stick it on, and I'm going to add some more tearing tape just on this edge so we can still attach it to our card. As I say, you would be taking a lot more time over this. I'm doing this very quickly just in order to ensure that we're not taking far too long on the video. Where do I want it? Do I want it there? Do I want it there? I'm actually going to put it here. Let's put that down there. Okay, yeah, I think I'm quite happy with that. And now we just need to add our dimensionals. Okay, I'm just going to use my scissors to pick up my dots, which I'm not doing very well. As I said, I didn't bring my pokey tool, unfortunately. It is in the other room. So I'm going to put one there. And I'm going to put one there. Having a little difficult, let's just pick it up with my finger. It does not want to come off today. Right, okay. And I'm just going to put one up when it turns over. Oh, YouTube videos, hey, never goes to plan when you want it to. It does not want to stick where I want it to. Okay, so that's it. Now you could add a little bit more bling if you wanted to. If I was going to, I'd maybe just pick out some of the leaves, not all of them. Just pick up the leaves. Okay, and you can see. So then obviously you would put a bit in the middle, a piece of white card in the middle to then put your sentiment and what you're going to say inside. But yeah, that is it. Monochrome cards. Let's bring the other ones in. This one's a little bit more involved. I used some of the die cuts out and then did a bit more blending with the petal pink one. Okay, so we have petal pink, we have old olive, and we have secret sea. Now, which one is your favourite? I wonder. It would be great to let me know. What is my favourite? I'm going to have to go with the old olive. And it is not just because it's matching my nails. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining me, everybody, today. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. Sorry if I've talked your ear off again. But please come back next Sunday for another Sharing Sunday. It would be great to see you. Yeah, thank you very much for joining me with this. And don't forget to check in on Facebook to Crafting Joyful Moments, Pandora Potts Crafting Joyful Moments, because I will be posting the Make With Me Monday video as well, and the tutorial on how to do it. All right, you take care there. Have a good week. Thanks. Bye.